So
We're up.
Look at homeless kittens.
So calling the meeting of the Rice Creek Watershed Board of Managers. It's our regular meeting. We are in the Mountains View City Hall Council Chambers. It's Wednesday, May 28th, 9 a.m. And record reflect that all managers are present with our normal wonderful staff members. How about the agenda? Any changes?
Yes, President Bradley, Board of Managers, staff would like to amend for a new action item 3, which was laid before you this morning. That is the Eastmore Lake Stormwater Resiliency and Water Quality Analysis Task Order.
holy smokes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Steve, you're not required to memorize what he just said.
Yes,
Just
he
make a
is.
little,
Yes, he is.
make a little asterisk.
So I'll move to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Manager Robertson. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And we're for minutes.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the minutes of the May 12, 2025 workshop, May 14, 2025 regular meeting.
I would second that.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Patrick, you're up.
Yeah, Manager Bradley, Board of Managers, staff have 2 permit applications for your consideration today. No changes requested. Happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions of Patrick? I have a motion, please.
Mr. President, I would move to Cap Rock permit number 24-076, 24-085, in accordance with the district's findings and recommendations as contained in the engineer's finding and recommendations as contained in the engineer's report dated May 20th, 2025.
Well
That was a
done.
mouthful.
Well done. And is there a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Administrator, would you like to take us to the first item?
Open mic.
Open mic, oh. So we have at least one person here available. Would anyone like to speak at our open mic? Please step forward, identify yourself for the record, your name and address, please.
Good morning. Brian Robinson, 310 Main Street, Lionel Lakes.
Welcome.
I'm here about questioning that culvert that you guys are going to replace under our field crossing. We discussed it about a month ago. It's on the south side of our farm, adjacent to Carl Street.
Yes.
Do we all know what I'm
Yes.
referring to? Okay. I'm being told that you guys are going to replace it, but it's going to be with a smaller size culvert. Is that correct? It's a 72-inch culvert, and I'm being told that it's probably going to be downsized, and I was just wondering if that's ever been done anywhere in your system before, where you're putting in a smaller culvert, other than one that's been there for probably 70 to 75 years.
Chris, can you respond to that, please?
Yeah, and Mr. President, I've talked with Ditch Inspector Tom Schmidt about this location a few times now. The intent is to replace that with a 60-inch culvert, as the downstream culvert that is at the air park is also a 60-inch pipe. So there's really no reason to have a larger pipe upstream of the one that's downstream from it. We do have instances where we've replaced pipes with smaller ones where the pipe that was there was oversized and not need to be sized that large. So we've utilized the district's protocols in sizing the pipe. And certainly, if the landowner would like to have a larger pipe there, they could pay for the added cost of having a larger pipe, as it is their pipe and their crossing.
So that's your choice. You could either accept our 60-inch because pipes downstream are that size, or if you want a larger pipe,
Right.
the added cost.
You guys are always talking about this as constructed deal. Well, this ditch system built by my grandfather, this culvert paid for by my grandfather, it was constructed as that. Why aren't we going back to what it was constructed as? I mean, you guys are always using this as constructed as whatever. Why is this one, I mean, have you guys ever downsized a culvert anywhere in your system?
Chris?
Yes, I don't have any specifics on where, but I know that that has happened.
But no specifics. You can't tell us.
No, we manage,
Well, another thing I'd like-
100+ miles of ditch and, there's literally,
My family's concerned with this. I mean, it was constructed with that size of a culvert. I would imagine you guys could put the same kind of size culvert back. Another thing you might want to take into consideration is this land has been designed to shed a large amount of water in a short amount of time. And we're just worried that this culvert, if it's changed, and all of a sudden it becomes a problem, how long is it going to take to correct the problem? I mean, I understand that engineers can run reports and this and that, but they're not always correct. There is situations where the reports and the designs that could be incorrect.
Chris, what's the
I'm just
distance
asking the
between-
board.
Let me ask a question if I could. Chris, what's the distance between his culvert and the downstream one?
The next downstream one is at Carl Street, and I would say that the distance is probably maybe a couple hundred yards downstream.
So there'd be no place for that extra water, if there were extra water, to be absorbed other than just backing up.
Yeah, I mean, there's, of course, a very large ditch all the way through there. There's some storage in the ditch all the way back up because that ditch has been oversized over the years. But again, certainly, it's, ultimately the choice of the district and the board if you'd like to.
But
Is it the cost? I mean, is that why we're changing it? Just because it's not necessary and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more expensive, or is?
Yeah, a 72-inch culvert is going to be a bit more expensive than a 60-inch, and there would be no engineering reason to make it larger than what that 60 inch is, just because of what's downstream from it.
Do you know what the cost difference is by chance?
I
in the
don't
two
happen to know
culverts?
off the top of my head.
Can you ballpark? Like, is it hundreds,
Yeah.
thousands?
I would say that it may be on the order of like about maybe $40 a foot. So if we have a 50-foot culvert, it might be another $2,000 to $3,000, something like that.
what's the board's wishes?
Mr. President, I have a couple questions just for information purposes for my back. First of all, this culvert was put in the early 50s.
Correct.
Was there a Carl Street? How many streets were downstream from it when it was built? And second, as constructed, and when they put it in for the 50s, it must have been for the size of the culvert of the ditch at the time. And so the phrase that it was, what's that, over excavated, was that the phrase you used?
Over-engineered.
Over engineered or something. But that's what the engineering was done at the time, and built that way. And so I'm just wondering, it seems that the 70, it may be that with all these new culverts that have been put in downstream, maybe they're undersized.
So, do I have a motion by anyone about what we should do?
I mean, I'll make one, but again, I will just continue to state that this isn't what open forum is for.
I appreciate it, but we need progress now this summer.
I understand that. I mean, my recommendation would be to just replace it as the size that it is currently so that there is no potential disruption, whether engineering reports say it is or it isn't. That would be my recommendation, that you replace that section of culvert as it is now at the 72 inches.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Chris. This is not in any way a reflection on the work.
No.
But it is a reflection on our effort to get this done without further.
Thank you, I appreciate
Problems.
it. And that culvert's not 50 feet long, so really, it's probably closer to maybe 30. So, and the ditch wasn't made any bigger throughout the years. That ditch was constructed as that width and depth, so it wasn't like re-engineered over the years. My grandpa dug it that wide originally.
Thank you for coming today.
I thank you guys, appreciate it, have a good day.
Thank you.
All right,
President Bradley,
yeah.
first item requiring board action, under actions requiring board action, is the Minnesota Watershed's request for resolutions. Kendra is unable to be with us this morning. I'll be addressing it. As you know, annually, Minnesota Watershed solicits memberships for resolutions as it works on its legislative activities and priorities. The process is under a new timeline I'll make note of. At the May 12th workshop, the board discussed several possible topics. Staff followed up on those suggestions, researched feasibility, and brought back information to facilitate further discussion. Based on that input, one resolution topic was identified to advance for your consideration. Staff drafted the resolution expanding the wetland exemption for all public drainage repairs. The resolution itself is on page 38 of the packet. This removes the 25-year, or proposes that removal of the Wetland Conservation Act 25-year limitation on public drainage system exemption for repair and maintenance of its systems is appropriate. We need to review and approve for submission to Minnesota Watersheds by June 2nd, right around the corner. And there's a proposed motion on the bottom of page 36, and happy to answer any questions.
Mr. President, I'll move to direct the staff to submit the proposed resolution with attachments expanding wetland exemptions for all public drainage repair to the Minnesota watersheds.
I'll second that.
Mr. President, I want to, I thank the staff and the consultants that all worked on this, and appreciate the resolution, and we'll submit it to the committee, and we'll see what happens. But it's, this is something, you only have
That
to.
was well written, by the way.
I was just going to get to that, yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well written, it followed the format. I was pleasantly surprised to read it in my packet. And, and the only thing, I realized that deferred maintenance is a phrase that I would use, but I don't see any problem with the under-maintained for 25 years phraseology there at all. But that's basically what we're talking about, is deferred maintenance, not that these people had decided to not do this work. It's just that it's just was not on the schedule at that time, and the 25 years is not a reasonable time to do maintenance on systems.
So with that amended change, I support it. No, there's nothing wrong with making that change.
I wasn't making any change, I just suggesting,
That's
I'll leave it as it is.
We'll keep that in our
Yeah,
quiver.
yeah. But I
Keep that
just
in our quiver.
wanted you to say to you that when you're up there presenting it, you know, because you're having attachments, deferred maintenance was just the words that were used here, under-maintained or such, or non-maintained, are fine. I'm not complaining about that. That's the point I wanted to get to, so.
Any further discussion?
No, that's great.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Nice work, Nick, by the way. I
Yep.
did not think when we discussed it that I was gonna be able to be so happy about being able to support it, but you did a good job selling it. So, thank you.
Thanks go to all staff. Thank you, President Bradley. Board of Managers,
Tip of the hat to all of them. The President's correct. There's very good.
Board of Managers, next on the agenda is the number 2 item, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency Grant Award. This is for the Moore Lake Stormwater Resiliency Analysis, and David is with us to address the subject.
Welcome, David.
Morning. Thank you, Mr. President, Board of Managers. Yes, we are here today for the MPCA Sewer Overflow Stormwater Reuse Grant opportunity. Shortly after I started with the district this fall, saw a grant opportunity that come across the desk, and I had sent it out to several of our partners that I'd worked with so far at that point, one of them being the city of Fridley, asking if there was any needs that we might be able to partner on. Together we came up with a project to update the Moore Lake stormwater retrofit analysis that was done in 2013. This is largely because the top priority project was completed. That's the iron enhanced sand filter there at Moore Lake Park. And a couple other projects have also been done since that report. And so this is to kind of take all of that back into account and figure out what's next. There's still some issues that the city's having, and so this is to create a concerted effort to make progress on those. You'll note that this is, we first heard back that we were going to get this award back in February of 2025. That's when I had y'all sign that you hadn't committed any financial felonies in the last 10 years. And so this is all part of that same grant opportunity. I will mention that Rinky Noonan, Mr. Cole, has reviewed the grant agreement and is without objection to it. If there are any questions, I can try to answer them for you.
Anyone have questions?
So, Mr. Chair, I would move to accept the $71,000 grant from MPCA and authorize the administrator to execute the grant agreement for the Moore Lake Stormwater Resilient Analysis Project.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say, any discussion?
What so, Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Sure.
So, next, we're going to approve a task order to begin this project? Is that how that's how this works?
Correct.
Okay, and then maybe when we get this done, Mr. Chair, you talked about the iron enhanced sand filters, and I noticed in staff reports that there are issues that continue to come up around those. And so again, it's a request to see what's happening with those facilities. Because we're using it a lot, and it seems like there's a lot of maintenance issues or function issues around them, so.
I will note, I know Kendra has been working with some partners, including University of Minnesota and Freshwater Society, to organize a workshop of sorts specifically on the operations of iron enhanced sand filters. And so I will make sure to share that with you once that becomes available.
Okay, thank you.
David, this would be the city's facility, would it not?
Correct. That one specifically is the city's.
But Mr. President, Manager Marcy's correct. There's a lot of trouble with those, and even the ones that, and she's just talking about ours, that we have the three. There are many of them that the district has been partnered and grant, like this proposed one at Fridley is, and that cities are not really, I would say, up to snuff on maintaining them. And I'm going to pick on Forest Lake here for a moment. They didn't have a regular program of raking it in the springtime. So it won't hurt to have a program and put
great.
out to talk about it and to have some interaction with these maintenance program staffs at these cities again about making certain they're done. Otherwise, it's just it becomes crusted over and it's dysfunctional.
Yeah. Excellent.
President Bradley,
Yes.
just
Mr.
point of
Moore.
clarification that this is an analysis of the watershed and not specifically about an iron enhanced sand filter. Okay.
Mr. President, I'll call the question. As we
Okay, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please don't ever be opposed taking money. Okay, thank you.
We have the next one now.
President Bradley, Board of Managers, next on the agenda is the East Moore Lake Stormwater Resiliency and Water Quality Analysis Task Order for Houston Engineering. So this is about how we will spend the money. These tend to have tight timeframes, so we thought best to bring this right along. David, of course, is here again to speak to this item.
Yes, thank you for accepting the late ad here, but we figured as long as we were accepting the grant money, we had a task order drafted to not have to come back in a couple weeks to get this approved. But this is the task order for Houston to complete the work outlined in the previous grant award.
Got it.
So, Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the HEI task order number 2025-004, East Moore Lake Stormwater Resilient and Water Quality Analysis, not to exceed $77,000, and to authorize the administrator to execute the task order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Yes.
President Bradley, Board of Managers, next on the agenda is your check register that's found on page 49 of the packet.
Marcy, you want to lead us through?
Sure, Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the check register dated May 28th, 2025, in the amount of $248,573.27, and the May interim financial statement prepared by Red Path and Company.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're heading towards a record, people. We've got to figure out somebody
No
to slow
kidding.
down. All right.
You probably just jinxed it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you probably did.
So we're up to staff reports?
Yes.
Informational items.
anyone have any questions about the staff reports? If not, I guess that takes us to the June calendar, which I would like to include a quick reminder of what's happening tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, tonight is Anoka County Ditch 5362, Branch 5 and 6 Public Information Meeting. So we'll see if look to inform the public if anyone comes and has questions about what the district's up to there.
What time was that at again?
6 PM.
6 PM, okay.
Yep, Mounds View,
Right here.
Right here.
Right
Yep.
here.
right here. Yep.
And remind me again roughly where 5362 ditch branches 5 and 6 are located.
Yes,
You're all right, isn't it?
off of 109th in the city of Blaine on the south side of 109th, I think would be a good description. West of Lexington.
Very good.
It's a ditch that doesn't have a lot of residents along it, as I recall.
No, it's mostly industrial.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Very good.
President Bradley?
The June calendar then?
Uh,
Any
As-
questions or concerns about the June calendar, which is on page?
Note that the second meeting in June is changed to a Monday, the 23rd.
Yes, it is.
Yep. That is President Bradley ahead of the Minnesota Watershed Summer Tour, which is generally Tuesday through Thursday. It's at the top of the state next to Canada.
And I do plan to attend that one.
Oh, bless your heart.
Anybody wants to ride along?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Long drive.
Yeah, that is.
Long that is.
Bring your passport.
I am going to bring my passport, yes.
All right.
Both of them.
Administrator update then, I guess.
Yes, Board of Managers, yesterday was the City of Columbus's meeting. This was in regards to drainage on the northern reach of Anoka Ditch 102232. The meeting was well attended by city, Rice Creek, county, DNR, landowners, and some of their consultants. There was some discussion about DNR, their public waters, and public waters wetlands designation, how that's done, the approximations of that mapping, and as technology changes, how those changes are represented, if you will, on the maps. Landowners, I'll make note of Mr. Dave Rybeck was present. He was supportive of the Rice Creek maintenance and the recent board approval of the Wetland Conservation Act no loss for the Pine Street culvert lowering and the associated work that we're looking at on 137th to bring it down to the DNR permitted level. I think the landowners continue to seek or have interest, obviously, in the work the district does there, seek to resolve, offer their own situations, and offer site visits and such as like Mr. Robinson's visit today. Carlos Avery and its water levels was mentioned just outside the district's boundaries to the northwest. spoke about the change in the septic separation to groundwater, moving that up to 3 feet. That's a state level action. And another meeting is intended. The city is intending to hold that meeting based on the broadness of the topic. Joe Drell, of course, was mentioned as well and part of the discussion.
Was there any specifics about possible action on Joe Drell by the city?
Possible action by the city? No, I wouldn't say that was part of it. I think it was certainly a part of the topic and noting the idea of just all the time and potential as a dam was mentioned. That coincided, of course, with DNR's public waters and what runout elevations are and those types of things. There was some seeking of additional information. Mr. Ken Meek, who was a environmental consultant and supporting Mr. Rybeck, offered his files that he may have of information that would be available if it would serve the discussion in any way. The city engineer, the city attorney were present. Just a good opening discussion, I would say, and looking to meet again.
More to come.
Yeah, more to come. I think they would like to ultimately know in the future what, if any, additional work the district plans to do on the system now that we've kind of moved from that Pine Street initial subcomponent of alternative 4. So that's all I have.
All right. John?
Mr. President, I am very happy to see that we are going to send a resolution up to about the 20-year rule. There are other things that are eventually I hope we can get to. One of them is the methodology for the ordinary high water mark, or should I say, I don't know if we want to call it, if I would even give it respect of calling it a methodology, the magic of it, and how it influences the drainage systems. But I was very pleasantly surprised to see that resolution so well written. I thank the staff. I thank Ms. Sommerfeld for her work on this matter. It was put together in a very professional manner and followed the outline that they now have for these. We now have a new outline for this. And so I may go up to watch the Resolution Dispute Committee at the meeting up there for the summer tour or such. They'll all be up there for that. But I don't know yet. I'm just
It's a long drive.
400 and some odd miles, I'm sure.
Okay. Mr.
President Bradley, Board of Managers, Manager Waller, I'm with the change in the protocols for the resolution. I'm not sure if that will occur at the summer meeting.
No.
The committee will review the resolutions, and then I think it's maybe in St. Cloud mid-June that they vote. They added an addition, but
I'll have to look at
we
that.
should clarify that.
There's
yeah.
I'm not sure they have a location yet.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
there's a calendar for it, though. It was on one of those packets that came from the Minnesota Watershed's administrator as to the outline, and I'll have to go home and take a look at it. But
Yeah.
when you're up there, I mean, I'm pretty sure Don's going to be up there, for example, who's on the committee that is named
Yeah.
on the committie here.
Chairs
So-
it.
Committee too?
Right.
I'm on the bylaws committee.
Oh, the
No,
bylaws.
he's
So my work is done.
Okay, good.
Yes,
We got that.
no, this is, Don's from on Valley Creek, on his watershed, so.
Hey, Marcy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The governor signed the legacy budget. It was supported in a bipartisan manner, and I'd just like to point out that our Senate, the Watershed Senator Housley, Kunish, Marty, and Gustafson supported it, and especially appreciate Senator Housley's support of the legacy amendment, which is what provides the watershed-based implementation funding for the watersheds throughout the state.
So all I have is what was in the paper, which suggested basically it sounded like it was gonna go to water treatment processes. I mean, can you outline a little bit better what came out for watersheds out of legacy fund approval?
Well, the watershed-based implementation fund that
Okay.
we saw last time around, where we had our priorities,
We set up our own priorities.
we set our own priorities.
Yeah.
That would be specifically within watershed, the watershed plans. Whether that goes directly to watersheds or to our partners within the watershed is up to those plans. And otherwise, there's a myriad of projects, both local and within the state agencies that.
Mr.
Okay.
President, just to comment on Senator Housley, she's done a tremendous job. She's been there for watersheds. In our plan, we have a item for Forest Lake, the development on ditch number 4. And the Forest Lake received a very large amount of money from the budget last time when on the borrowing part of it. And so that was Senator Housley who did that. Very good.
And Mr. Chair, as a follow-up to this PCA grant, could easily have been, I'd have to double check, but it could be a legacy, a clean water money that went to the MPCA that then becomes a competitive grant. So it does get a little tricky to kind of follow the money and where it all comes from, but that's what's happening. So thanks.
I attended the same meeting in Columbus as Nick, but I think Nick did a good job of covering all the topics, and I'd just say more to come later. Maybe another, I mean, they're planning another meeting, but I don't think they have any times or anything, but Nick did a good job of covering it, so.
Good.
That's all I got.
Hey, I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, so we're just happy to have you. So I don't have anything extra. I will see those of you who are attending. By the way, who expects to be there tonight?
I will be there.
I will be there.
Will not be. My Monday meeting, because Memorial Day got scheduled to today.
That's it.
And you'll
Very
be there
good.
too?
I'll be there. All right, so motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.